Hello and welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to create and finally deploy an Azure Resource group, which will keep all of our resources within Azure nice and contained. This is honestly one of my favorite features of Azure versus AWS, as it really helps keep things separated nicely. So, let's get started. Of course, the first thing we should do is fix this provider if you forgot to at the end of the last lesson. Let's go ahead and make sure that's fixed and make sure that feature is plural, just like so. Features. Perfect, so that should be good to go. So now let's take a look at the resource group documentation. Now, as you can see, we've got some notes here. None of these are going to affect us, but do be aware that whenever you see notes in the documentation like this, it's probably a great idea to read them, as sometimes they will indicate some very big issues that you might encounter and how to solve them. So now let's scroll down here. We've got our example usage. As you can see, we've got a resource here. So just like we have provider here, this is a resource. And this resource is Azure RM _ resource group. Now, this cannot change. This indicates the type of resource that you are deploying. So you want to make sure you use the right name for that resource, as Terraform will have no idea what you're trying to deploy if you don't use the right name. Now, this is an alias. The following here can be anything you want for the most part. You have to adhere to some grammar rules, but for the most part, it can be just about anything you want. And this is how you will reference this resource within Terraform. Now, Azure doesn't know anything about this alias, but Terraform does. This is how it's stored in the state. So after that, we've got our arguments, we've got a name, and then this is Azure specific, location, Azure specific, and then also we can pass in some tags, Azure specific. And now once you create this, you can actually go into the state using several different methods that we'll cover, and you can also attain the ID of the resource once it's deployed. There will be no ID that you can find until, of course, it is deployed within Azure. So let's bring the code back over here and let's go ahead and start coding. In fact, what I'm going to do, scroll up and let's just copy this block right here. And we'll paste it in just to help prevent any type of typos, since I am very prone to those. So we've got a resource, Azure RM resource group, and let's just call that MTC-RG. Just like so. Now the name, since this is actually in Azure, we're going to make that a little more specific in this case. We'll just call it MTC-resources. And this is also to illustrate that these can be different. Now the location I'm going to use is going to be East, US, just like so. And then below that, I'm going to specify some tags. So tags equals, open and close some curly braces, and let's just give it an environment tag. So the environment equals dev. We're not really going to be doing much with these tags in this course, but of course for billing purposes or any type of other resource management, it's nice to know what environment your resources are deployed to. So now that we've done that, let's go ahead and Control S. Now let's run a Terraform FMT once again, clean things up. As you can see, it kind of pulled that environment back a little bit. And then let's run a Terraform plan. Just like so. All right, so that was a successful plan, and what this is doing is showing us what is going to be built if we run a Terraform apply. So as you can see, we've got our plus signs for create. There are other signs, but right now we're not changing anything. So you can see that we're creating this new resource, and then under that you've got the arguments that we're passing in. And as you can see, we've got the ID known after apply, which means we will know that as soon as this is deployed to Azure. So let's go ahead and deploy that. Let's go ahead and run a Terraform apply and hit enter. All right, as you can see, it ran a plan again. And then it asks us if we would like to perform these actions, if we'd like to continue. So yes, we would definitely like to continue. Now in the future, we will use the auto approve flag just to skip that because we are running a plan between all of this, so we don't need to get another confirmation. But generally speaking, when running from the CLI in production, It's probably a good idea to have this extra step just to ensure you don't make any mistakes. So we'll go ahead, enter that yes, and hit enter. And give that a little bit of time, and it should be deployed here shortly. All right, apply complete, resources 1 added, 0 changed, 0 destroyed. Perfect. Let's go take a look in the Azure console. Going to refresh here. Just going to click up here to the left, and I'm going to click on resource groups. All right, and this is the first time I've logged in this account, so we've got a lot of pop-ups here. Let's get rid of those. As you can see, sometimes resource groups take a little bit of time to show up, but once I refresh, here they are, MTC-resources. So if we open it, we can see all sorts of other information about it, so that is excellent. For now, go ahead and mark this lesson complete. Come on back to the next one and let's deploy some more infrastructure.